I've been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, yeah. It's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, yeah. That it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Road to Freedom podcast, where we talk about everything business, mindset, life, but most importantly, freedom. Freedom of thought and freedom of pursuit, where you get to learn how to attain everything you've ever wished for, and where you also get to open your mind on a variety of topics. This podcast revolves around self-growth and the creation of free thought. This is why it's called the Road to Freedom podcast. Freedom of life, freedom of thought, and freedom of pursuit to wealth. Everything you hear in this podcast will help you grow as an individual and become the best version of who you are. A version where you get to attain all your goals and all your dreams. Today I have a special guest, my boy Luis. Say what's up, bro.
Yes, sir. What's up, Luis?
What's happening? What's happening?
Good to see you again, man. Happy to be here. Happy to be on this podcast.
Good to see you, bro. Yeah, so Luis and I, we go quite some time back. I don't know, when was it when we first...
I don't know.
It was like car meet. It was like 2018.
Yeah, but it was all when we were in the cars.
Yeah.
Cars.
Now we're more into making money.
Yeah, yes,
but we are
yes,
still
sir.
both in the cars, though.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
Obtain the dream cars.
Yeah. What would you say? Money's not an issue because I know you want to get the Porsche, but like 5-10 years, what's the car you want to get?
Oh, for sure, the Aventador.
What year though?
Minimum. What? Dang, you said 10 years. So it had to be.
Well,
at
like
least.
not necessarily. I just say that for the long term, but
Yeah.
it's like the fucking.
Because I was thinking right now, like for this year, it'd be like 2015 and up. You know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like those just some clean. And
How do you feel about the EVs?
I'm not like a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Oh, no. He said he's what you like, so you're okay with him.
Yeah.
I think the Teslas are tight. The Plaid is pretty sick. I mean, you can't deny
crazy.
like the speed.
Yeah.
Like
It's
what
a
is it
crazy
like in
car.
60 seconds, like 1.8 or something?
Yeah.
Like,
and you could
crazy.
feel, what is it, that G-force
Yeah.
thing, you know? I've been in the regular, the Model X.
Yeah,
just
the
wing
OG.
One.
Oh,
No, the wing one.
The Phantom or something?
No,
oh,
it's the X.
That's a Rolls
it's,
Royce.
it's like a no, yeah. I'm talking about the Tesla. Yeah. The
Yeah, I know
Model
what you're talking
X,
about.
But the P100D. So that was the one right before the Plaid or whatever.
Sedan.
Yeah, bro, that thing is
Yeah.
crazy.
That shit's pretty fast. Yeah, my friend, we went into his dad's Tesla before it got totaled. I think it was the X or the D or whatever. I don't remember, but it was the fast one. And that was my first experience, and I was like, dude, this is crazy. I remember I did a presentation in 9th grade against going electric, but I already know why. I mean, that's a topic for another day. I think there's corruption behind it. I think a lot of the times, too, that they're going to try to make us get into EV so they can control us through electrical cars.
Yeah, that's
like
exactly what I was saying.
Like,
Because
legit.
I've heard people getting stuck or whatever in those kind of cars, and I've always just been like, I want to be in control of my car, my vehicle, my mechanical
Well,
machine,
think about it,
you know?
too. Let's say something happens, because even think about the last, like, 6 months to 18 months. Like, the world's looked completely different. Like, if we would have walked to somebody in 2019 and said, like, bro, in the next couple years, there's going to be a virus. They're going to force you to wear a mask and all kinds of shit.
Sounds like a movie.
Sounds like a movie, you know? So I remember in 9th grade when I had said, like, you know, the bad thing about electrical cars and only depending on them is that if something happens, like a power grid loss, what are you going to do?
True.
Like, you know, but to be fair, though, even if that did happen with your car, like the newer cars, it would not work because the ECU would get blown out. So at that point, we'd have to revert back to like 1960s, like when they're carbureted. Yeah, that crank in the front. Yeah, bro. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I did that presentation. But anyways, bro. Yeah, man. Why don't you introduce like a little bit more about who you are, like your OG days, kind of talk about like your come up and different things like that. What you got going on right now? We can kind of backtrace from there.
All I knew is that I always wanted to just make money for myself out of my own, like, you know, work. I never really wanted to work underneath, per se, somebody else or another corporation type of thing. So it was just always started from, like, literally just selling candies out of my backpack at school, you know, and then it converted into selling T-shirts, selling artwork, whatever I could just to make some money, get whatever I could get. But now it's just, you know, really getting the main goals of what I'm trying to achieve, you know, aside from real estate stuff, opening up more businesses, other opportunities for those that, you know, are really willing to work and have the determination and all that, because it's like, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot of work that you got to put in. It's definitely not no 9 to 5 at all. You're working 24/7, without a doubt. always trying to figure out what's the next move and just continue working.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know you had said earlier that you started selling candy when you were, because that's what I used to do too, like 6th grade. How old were you when you first started selling candy?
Yeah, it was like middle school was really when it started for sure. Yeah.
What were you selling? What kind of
it was just like Baby Lucas, like some chips, like Tosti Locos type of stuff.
Shit,
but like
Mexican plug.
bro, like I even had like some chamoy, Valentina, like whatever I could like on the side.
Yeah.
I didn't take like all those crazy extra stuff, but I remember actually one time.
You had the limon and
I didn't go that far. I didn't go
what
too
you want?
that
what
far.
You want?
But bro, at one point I got caught, right? Because technically we weren't allowed to sell that.
So stupid too. Why does it matter?
Bro, it was hilarious. They called me in the principal's office, and there's a cop, like a school cop, in there, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on, you know? And they're like,
somebody get killed?
Bro, immediately they were just like, give me your backpack, and I'm like, okay. And bro, I had just gotten a new pack of like Baby Lucas, like this little like powder candy or whatever, like sugar candy, and as soon as the cop like opens it, he takes it out, and he's like, what is this? I'm like, some candy. I was like, Mexican candy.
It's not crack.
And they're like, no, bro. They were literally making it seem like as if I was selling something in the candy, like injecting in it or like putting, opening it up, putting whatever, and then throwing it back in type of thing. And I was like, bro, you could.
What benefit would you get from doing that? Some like sinister shit? Like,
no, I don't know what they were thinking of, but they were just thinking the most, you know. And I was just like, dude, I'm just trying to make like an extra $20. Like I was like, I don't know,
trying to make some profit, bro. Like get my family out the streets.
Bro, they took all of that from me, and then I don't think I got suspended, but I definitely was like on watch. Like they didn't let me. Like, you know, after that, I had to cut that. And then I believe that's when I did start kind of it was more in like high school actually, but that's when I started transitioning into selling more like just artwork or whatever I could to, you know, make the extra dollars.
Would you say that like first thing I wanted to say was that, about the school is that I think that's so stupid because that's what happened to me. They didn't like put me in cuffs and shit basically, you know, but at the end of the day, they like got on me for selling candy, and it's like, bro, I'm just trying to make $1, and like it kills the entrepreneur spirit in a kid, you know, but obviously not really, because at the end of the day we're still gonna make our bread one way or another, you know, but still the idea that somebody else could do that really at the end of the day, we should be like
I mean, I was actually like happy for that, just because like it put not just like happy, but I'm just more so like it's an obstacle, and then it's like you knowing like how are you gonna maneuver around this, you know, like without a doubt, like even now, like just with my sales or certain things like on Faith, like I don't know if I'm gonna get 100 orders tomorrow or just one, you know, like it just really depends. So it's like just knowing how to adjust and, you know, move, like I said, maneuver with the change and figuring it out rather than just like crumbling down and being like, what am I gonna do next?
Would you say that's the way that you thought in like 6th grade, like, or that time, like?
Not like fully, but it was something like I'm like I still want money. Like how am I? What else can I sell that is not gonna get me in trouble? You know, like so that's why I was like, the next best thing was just. I used to actually get so I was really into like graffiti, but I had like.
Dude, I could totally see that. I didn't know that, but I could totally like. Did you ever do any like pieces and stuff like that?
Nah, not like full pieces. It was mainly more on like this black book. It was just like I would just draw mainly on there. Yeah. Just kidding. But I transitioned over to just selling like stickers. They were like USPS stickers. And I would just draw people's names or whatever and just sell them for like $1, $5, whatever it was, depending how intricate the design was and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that was something that I could do without getting in trouble, and I was still able to, you know, sell or make. But
would you say that like you've always been more on the artistic side? Because I feel like
1,000%.
Oh, and another thing too, bro, is that introduce like what you're doing, like with Faith. Obviously, I know because you and I act like you don't know me because the audience is not gonna know you. So talk about Faith, and like what it is currently and how you like founded Faith and where it's at today.
Well, first and foremost, 1,000%, I've always been artistic from like very, very young. But I get that from my dad. My dad is one of the most creative people out there. I look up to him for literally everything, and he's given me the ability to do that. But so initially, I had another brand back in, I don't know, like 2017 or something. And it was just kind of like me just getting into it and like, you know, trying to make my own shirts, doing it from my room, getting, you know, actually cutting and sewing certain things and just trying to, you know, make it happen. And then from there, I just feel like I didn't get the response, and I didn't think it was a mature, like, kind of branding per se. So from there, I went on to like rebranding it into Faith. And what really comes down with Faith is just that I've seen so many other brands and stuff come from like a negative, side of things. Yeah, and just like selling off of like negativity, because that's one of the easiest things to do. Like I said earlier, you could, or when I said to you before,
yeah,
you can sell a shirt that really easily says like "F you" over selling
Negative.
like "I love you." Like people are gonna be like, "What?" Like I don't want to wear that, type of thing, rather than just like, "Oh, F off," like leave me alone, like type of thing.
What was that original, like, because I know you had said you started that original brand. What was it called?
It was actually called Born Hazy.
Born Hazy?
Yeah.
That's pretty tight.
It was, I was trying to make it seem like everybody's born different.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, everybody has their own.
What does hazy mean?
Hazy to me was like vague, like something just.
So born vague?
Super, yeah, like just whatever it is, whatever you want to be, like be who you are, do what you got to do, like that's what.
That was the message.
Yeah, like even the little hazy part of the logo was like kind of like faded out into it, so it was like I try to like make it all have like some kind of meaning.
Yeah.
And that's what it is now with like Faith, like this glitch for instance, it comes from like that hazy
that
logo
era.
Yeah. And this is more so like I believe everybody has faith, but not so it doesn't have to tie into religion. Like it's just like me having faith in you, you having faith in me, whatever it is, your mom, your dad, whoever it is just having something to believe in to keep you going forward and just pushing through the negativity. And obviously everybody has obstacles, everybody has struggle at the end of the day. But one thing for me is I've always felt somebody has it worse, like it really comes down to that. Like I'm still walking by, I'm here, breathing alive. I've been through many heart surgeries. I've been through all kinds of things myself. I never really like talk about it much, but I for sure like you could just go right outside and there's like 5 or 10 homeless, So I'm just like right off the bat with that, like there's people in way worse positions than you are, and I just know that I never want to be in that, and I never want to see anybody around me in that kind of situation. And for this, like Faith, like I said, is also able to give me the ability to start other businesses and other opportunities for other people to get out of whatever situation that it is, and hopefully get them into wherever they want to be, wherever they need to be.
What would you say? What do you feel like? What do you think? Because, I mean, how old were you when you said you did Born Hazy?
I was like 16.
16, and how old are you now?
23.
Yeah, we're born 98.
It's been a while, yeah.
98, before 2000.
Yes,
said something
still
about
90s, baby.
Yes, sir, for real. But what would you say, because it's the same thing, similar thing with me, is that this has always been like a thing that's been inside of me since I was a kid, like little kid, like 5 years old, from as far back I can remember. Yeah. With you, what would you say is like your driving factor behind what's making you think this? Like, what do you feel like is, because obviously there's a certain pattern in you where you're like starting Born Hazy, then you started Faith, now you've taken it to your company to now, or your brand to where it's also a company, but to where it's at today and where it's going to be at in 5 years. Yeah. So, and like you're saying, you're selling candy and things like that. What do you say is driving like that inner drive in you for those things?
For me, it's the future. Like just seeing what I'm able to do with just my skills, my talent, whatever it is that I have, and also being able to provide it to others. Like it's just wanting to see if I could get to the top. Like I don't know. For me, it's just being able to create generational wealth for the rest of my family. I want to have a really big family. I want to have multiple kids. And one of the biggest things is I've mentioned to you too, is that from the very beginning, the doctors told my parents that I was going to be able to make it to the age of 15. So from there, like oh man, like literally once I turned like 16, 17, I was like, damn, like I felt like I was like, I'm here for a reason. Like I need to do something, whatever it is, like I need to get it done and help other people, help whoever I can, and just meet all kinds of goals and just do something good.
Who knows, man? Who knows if like the reason why you were born into your body with the heart condition that you have, or the issues that you have with that, is that what if it was supposed to give you a sense of urgency? Yeah. What if it's actually supposed to be something for your benefit? Which, if you were to ask me, I would say 100%. Because there's no coincidence, bro, that you've been thinking like this for a long time, and then certain things like that go about, And I definitely agree with you. I think that with every single one of us, there is a reason why we're here. There's an absolute reason why we're here. Now, there's like NPCs, like people who like, I feel like, do you know what an NPC is? I don't know what the actual, like, what acronym stands for, but an NPC is like a guy in GTA that's walking on the street.
Oh, okay,
The guy you go walk up and punch randomly, like the guy's just like walking or whatever. That's what an NPC is. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of NPCs, probably intentionally developed NPCs. I mean, that's a story for another day. But one thing that you had said earlier is that you're looking to create generational wealth and that you want a big family. What would you say? What's so important to you about family?
Like lineage, what is it? Lineage, legacy, like all that. Like at the end of the day.
Why is that important to you?
Cause that's something that's the only thing we can leave behind. Like after this, we're done, we're gone. Everybody else is gonna continue with their lives, you know. And if I'm able to leave, my seed, my plant per se, you know, and everybody to continue whatever I had, like that's what makes historical moments, you know. That's what gets on the history books type of thing, you know. That's what passes on to everybody else. And like what you're trying to do with this podcast itself, it's like you're leaving something here that's gonna last forever. It's something that's gonna change ideologies or help other benefit, you know. Like that's what it is. And for me, obviously, I look more for it to, like I said, more my family. Like that's what I care about, like the most. But for sure, as much as I can to help everybody else around me, like I'm gonna bring everybody up as high as I can.
Would you say that? Let's just say. Let me ask you this: if you feel like, let's just run a hypothetical situation. Let's just say that you were born into a super wealthy family with the same family, right? Do you think that you would have been creative when you were younger, trying to start things and selling candy, or do you think that the reason why you did that was so you can start making some money for yourself because you didn't necessarily have it at your home or per se?
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying like I had the same exact parents, like but just wealthier, then yeah, maybe I wouldn't have sold candy back then like that. But I feel like I for sure would have had like that creativity. I mean, like I don't know. I'm just
I'm laughing because the way you're like, how?
Well, just because, bro, I'm going based off now. Like I went to La Jolla High, you know, and over there, like I said, like
how did that happen? Like how did you end up in that district?
It was San Diego district, so it's all San Diego district.
So like as long as you're in San Diego, like you can pick other schools too, right?
Yeah.
But obviously
I wanted to go to. What was it? I think it was Memorial. Memorial was a high school, but that was like in the ghetto, you know.
Yeah,
and that's
La Jolla is like a nice place for the people who don't know. La Jolla is like literally the best place in San Diego. Really, like the highest income area.
Bro, like kids in the high school be pulling up in Ferraris, G wagons, like literally anything and everything you could think of, Bentleys, bro, like everything. So I'm pretty sure they didn't have to sell any candy when they were in middle school or weren't even thinking about that, you know.
Yeah.
But it was also like. Well, back to you. What was your question again?
Something about family. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember.
Well, if we were in that same family or...
Yeah, because what I was getting at was this, is that for me, and I'll tell you what the reason why my drive is because with me personally is that my absolute number one core value is my family. So everything first, that's my very first filter is my family. Then the second is the community, like helping people out. But number one is my family. And the reason why is because I've gone through massive struggle with my family, like over and over. We're talking about in the first episode, like I was with my sister and my brother, and we're talking about like the times. It was funny. My brother was saying that the times that we didn't push the car when it ran out of gas, it was like a miracle. You know, dude. Literally, I remember like we'd run out of gas, and I would just be like, it is what it is. Like, let's figure it out. Like, I didn't trip, nothing like that. There's a lot of times where I was always resourceful. I remember one time we ran out of gas right in front of our high school. And I like ran, I don't remember, but I ended up finding some kind of water bottle, and I like I didn't even have a knife to cut it in half. So like I bit a little hole, and then like I figured out a way to rip it finally, and I think I got keys and I was doing all kinds of stuff, and finally I figured it out, and then I put the like half of the water bottle inside the cap, and not even remember. I remember one time too, my brothers always laugh, my brother and my mom, but there's this time my mom was running out of gas with a Sequoia V8, and it bucks, so you start running out of gas, like that, right? And we're in front of Southwestern College, but anyways, there's a Shell gas station in front of it that's expensive or somewhat expensive, and my
Shell
mom's
expensive.
bucking like as she's about to like pass the Shell gas station, and she's like 459.
Oh no!
And my mom and my brother always laugh about that, but it's because money has always been tight for us, you know. So like I remember as a kid too, and I even remember when I was younger, my dad was saying, like, one time he sat all of us down together, and he was like, you guys don't have maids, so, you know, you need to clean up after yourself, and you don't leave your stuff around. you need to clean up after yourself, stop being a pig, you know? And I remember thinking to myself, like, you don't think I'm going to have a maid? Watch. I'm going to have a maid when I grow up.
Yeah, yeah.
And another thing, too, is that we lost our house when we were in 2009, 2008, that crash.
Yeah.
And that house, bro, so that's the only house my family, like had a mortgage on that we technically owned. And after that, we were tenants for the rest of our life, moving every year, bro. Like, literally, I remember, I think we lived in, like, I was counting it before, it was like 10 houses plus that we've lived in my entire life. And we've never had a home since. And, like, dude, I remember the way that, just the feeling of, like, when we lost the house back then, we didn't know what to do, we were broke, and we were losing our family childhood home, like, where we raised our dogs. Our dogs are, like, family to us, you know? Like, our, like, warmth and our love was at that house. And my family couldn't afford it, so we lost it in 2008, 2009. And I remember the feeling of how that felt when we lost the house as a family. Yeah. And I remember just like, dude, it was just a horrible
situation
feeling.
You never want to be in,
and
you know?
Dude, so and our family is like good people, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, we don't deserve this shit. And I remember thinking that as a kid, you know? And that's why my core value, number one, amongst plenty of other, thousands of other stories just like that, you know? Very crazy stories, dude. But that's why, to me, my core value is my family. So also I was curious, because that's why I do what I do. And ever since I was young, the reason why I pursue business, and I've always known to be a businessman and an entrepreneur, is to gain massive wealth to help my family out and to give them the life they deserve. So that's what I was kind of curious in regards to, like, why, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs are born through struggle, like with households that don't have a lot of income.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, bro, is that, well, going back onto Faith with your brand, what was like because I don't even know this, what was like the initial idea, like the start of it? Like, how did that break down? Like, what was it like? Like, were you one day in your room like, I'm going to start like a brand named Faith? Like, take it all the way back to that creation of thought.
For that one, yeah, it was actually a phone call with my girlfriend. She, it was like towards the end of senior year, I believe, or like beginning of senior year or something. Mm-hmm. And I was working at like KFC or Taco Bell, and I was just like, dude, like, I'm not, it was like both in one. So I had to like remember both of the menus. Like, I never wanted it, bro. That's when we were getting paid like $8.50 an hour or something. And I'm like, this is something I never want to do like again. And, you know, I don't want to continue doing this. So it was like a random phone call, like almost middle of the night type of thing. And I'm just talking to my girl, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not trying to work, and I'm not trying to go to college. I'm not, you know, I just wanted to do something, like I said, for myself. And we were just talking, like, she was just asking me, well, what do you like to do? What's something you want to do? And it was just, I'm like, oh, I'm creative. I like clothes. I like drawing. I like just creating stuff. I like making stuff, anything, like whatever it is. I just like arts and crafts kind of thing, you know? And then she was like, well, why don't you just make a clothing brand? And then from there, that's when we started going through like all kinds of different names, and we were just going through everything. And I believe that was actually when, was it? Damn, I honestly can't recall exactly that change, because like I said, I had Born Hazy, and I think I had that before I met my girl, and then it kind of like transitioned to the whole faith thing. Yeah. It's a little bit blurry, but I remember for sure I like renamed it after what happened at the hospital. Like, it was when I was like questioning God and, you know, certain things on like, why am I in this position? Like, why am I here? Like, the doctors had given up on me already, and just basically told my mom.
If you're comfortable with it, if you're open to it, what's like the story breakdown of that? Like, why were you in the hospital?
I have a cardiovascular disease. It's like, and it's also multiple like things that's going on just with my heart. That's like all kinds of messed up. Yeah. And so that time, the doctors just kind of gave up on me and told my mom, like, just stay with your kid and see what happens.
How old are you at this point?
I was like 15, 16. Like, it was all around that same time. So from there, I definitely wanted to like put out the, I don't want to say like the word of God type of thing, but a word of God of like faith, you know? But I didn't want it to be so like on you, like, oh, you believe in God and, you know, this and this and that. I thought that word was like a perfect word, plus what it means and defines of like, you know, like going back to like what I said, having faith in you, having faith in your mom, having, you know, just believing in something that makes you keep going forward, you know, like that's, at the end of the day, that's what this whole entire brand is about.
So So was there, because I know you had said that you were in the hospital, so was there a specific situation that happened where it was like, yeah, this is very important, and then you started the brand? Is that kind of what happened?
Kind of. It was just more of, it went back to, for me, of like, I'm here for a reason,
Yeah.
you know? But going back to the actual situation, because I didn't even explain it, but right after that, they had literally left the room where we were at, and
that's so wait, you were rewind a little bit. So just from the start. So how did you end up in the hospital to begin with? Like, were you
I had
like
what is it
eating
called?
McDonald's and like
No,
you know how did it work?
I don't really remember that, but all I know is just my heart has like was it a tachycardia, where it just starts beating like insanely fast and it's like uncontrollable, and if it keeps beating, it's just gonna like stop and I die, like collapse, and that's it, you know. So I've had that literally since I was born, and I remember back in elementary school I'd be going like almost every week just for that. But thankfully with technology, medication, all that has honestly helped out a lot. But so that's what had happened that day. It was just pretty aggressive that day, and there was nothing they could do to control it. They tried every single, you know, thing to do. They would put my head into like ice water and like have me literally trying to like like breathe or whatever, so it could like jolt my heart type of thing. Like it was like trying to get it into shock and then put it back into like a regular beat, you know, like just back into its regular rhythm. They had me doing like all kinds of stuff. And I remember my dad would even like grab me, put me upside down, and like shake me from my legs, and then my heart would stop and like go back to its like normal beat, and I would like feel it, like, because when it goes fast, like it was like almost half of my body like just is like, I don't even feel it, like it just goes numb, like my mouth, like I feel so much more drowsy, like all that. And so like I said, that's what happened like that day, and it was just like pretty bad. The doctors had left. They just told my mom to hold my hand and be there for me, you know? And then that's when I was like questioning everything and asking like, why would God put me in a position like this? Like, what did I do? I'm very young. Like, I didn't do anything. Like, I still feel like I have a lot in me. I want to do more. I want to have a kid. Like, that's all the things I was telling my mom. She just started crying. And she was just like, don't you ever like question God. Like, he would never put anything in front of you that you can't handle. And she was just like, all we can do is pray right now. And as soon as she like grabbed my hand and like literally barely started like the prayer type of thing, it just like went back to normal, like literally out of the nowhere, bro. Like it felt so weird. Like it for sure gave my mom goosebumps. Like she got like hella chills, and then my mom like just yelled out to the doctors like, he's fine, because we could see in the monitor like literally the heart like going back to like its normal like beat. And then I was just kind of like, what in the world just happened, you know? And the doctors come back in. They're like, what'd you do? Like, what happened? Like, what did he like hold his nose to stop breathing? Like, what did he do to like shock his heart back into a regular rhythm? And my mom was like, like, we didn't do anything, you know? Like, she was like, between us, we were just like, we just prayed, you know? But then the doctor or nurse, she had, I remember it was a lady, but she had said like, there was nothing else that could have been done, but just only a miracle. And so from there, that's when I was like, oh snap, like I said, I feel like I'm here for a reason. I need to do something with it. And for me, that was like one of the biggest things that got in my head on, like, they were like, oh, like, you are a miracle, you know? And I was like, I want to pass this feeling on to everybody else. Like, you're here for a reason. Like, you're here to do something. Like, as much as I'm a miracle, you know, I have, like, based on, like, whatever I've been through, you're a miracle. Everybody watching this is a miracle. Like, everyone, every walking being is a miracle. You know, you're here for a reason. You got to do something with it.
Yeah, I think they say, like, I forget the odds of you being born.
Yeah.
You know, and not only being born, but born in America.
Yeah.
Out of all the places on the earth,
yeah.
Place of freedom, you know, a place where there's capitalism, where you can actually become successful in the endeavors of what you want to do as an entrepreneur. But, yeah, man, that's a pretty crazy story. So was there something in particular that you felt happened when that moment? Dude, that's like a movie scene, dude. Like with the monitor there. Like,
yeah, it was
beeping. Was it beeping
scary.
Too?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Bro, and it was like going insanely fast. I remember watching it, and it hit like 180 beats per minute, just, and you could just see like all the little like static things, and then it just like you see it literally transition, because it's like a split second where then it just. Yeah. And it stops, and then it just starts going back to just.
That's boom, so crazy.
Boom, boom. Like it's.
So do they not understand why that is?
No, that's why it's called a tachycardia or something like that.
But
like
what triggers it to begin with?
That I don't know. I've never been like, bro. I could just literally be walking around and then it just like happens. Like,
Dude, there has
usually
to be a cause.
they would tie it in more into like if I was like exercising or running too long or some things like that would like tire. Yeah. But like tire me and then like just have to increase my heart rate because it needs the blood flow, like all these things. But yeah, that was one thing too, because when I was born, like all my fingertips, my lips, my toes, they were all like blue, purple. Like there was not enough oxygen running through my body too. So it was like my blood, like, or my heart never had enough like blood flow from the very beginning, and it still really doesn't to this day. But I feel like maybe that's just what kind of like triggers it, where when it feels like it needs more like blood pumping to it, but it just goes above and beyond.
I could see that. That makes sense.
Like, that's the only thing that I could really think of. Because the doctors never gave me, like, an exact,
Do you ever, like, feel like, another thing that popped into my mind was that, do you ever, like, deal with anxiety or anything like that?
No.
Not really? You're sipping on the coffee, so I don't think, because a lot of people with anxiety don't drink coffee or whatever. Or I don't know, but.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever been anxious or, like, anxiety at all.
Yeah.
No.
Because what I was thinking is that what if he gets like anxious and then like almost like a panic attack?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like triggers that?
No, I've seen that.
That's not the case with you, right?
No, because I've definitely seen that in some people, and I'm just like,
yeah, bro.
No, I've never dealt with that. Because like I said, it's just like really, really random. Like I'm saying, I could just be walking with an ice cream, and then out of nowhere, poof, it just starts going, and I'm not even thinking anything of like stress related or nothing. It just literally happens.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. There's this book. I mean, obviously, you already know I like to recommend you books, but there's another book that you eventually should pick up. It's called Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. And what he talks about is, in that, dude, the actual cover of it, it's the icon means energy and information. But essentially, what happens is that, think about it too, like the way that we operate, everything is operating off our subconscious mind. Yeah. So like our heartbeat, us taking a piss, us taking a crap, or anything like that, anything that's like below our conscious mind, our subconscious takes care of. So what you learn in Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza is that you have a lot more control than you think, and that he talks about activating like genetics and stuff like that with the way that you think.
I'm happy you said that, because when I was young, I was always like, dude, what the hell is wrong with my heart? Like, my brain is supposed to be able to control this like other organ, So for me, when I was a kid, anytime I'd have that, like, I would personally try my very best, like, not only mentally, but, like, just I would try to, like, hold my breath or do certain things to make it stop and go back. And I feel like I honestly really, like, kind of got down to it. So when I would feel it coming, I would do whatever. I would do whatever. I would do whatever I had to do to, like, make it stop, or whatever I felt, like, in my mind would make it stop. And it actually, I feel like it worked. But then back in 2017 or between 2014 to 2017, I got a pacemaker. So that was because my heart rate was really low, especially when I was sleeping. They were saying that it was like way too low to, be pumping. So I had to be put in this thing called a pacemaker, and it basically sends shocks up to the heart to make it start beating like at a normal rate again. Yeah. And ever since then, I haven't been able to like control that part where I would like kind of stop, hold my breath or do whatever. And I'm kind of like, oh damn, like I really have like some little machine in here that's really, if anything, it makes it kind of like worse. Like it makes it go faster, and it just sends shocks, and like the machine doesn't know what to do, type of thing. Yeah. So I still try to do whatever I had to do, like hold my breath, like mentally, like tell myself like it's okay, bring it down, my heart rate, like breathe in and out, like all that. But it doesn't work as well as it did prior to having that pacemaker.
I could totally see that. So at the end of the day, you're the born of faith, the creation of faith was due to struggle, right? Yeah. From you and your situation with your heart. Yeah. And your heart condition growing up, right? Yeah. I just think that's so crazy. It goes back to the struggle is what creates like the prosperity all the time. Now,
it's like a desperation,
What do you mean?
Like, we're desperate to get to where we want to be. Yeah. You get me? Like,
I don't know. Why would you say desperate, though? I feel like desperate has a negative connotation.
True, but it's like, what was the other word where we were saying it's like a negative connotation, but I was like...
Manipulation?
Yeah, something like that. I was like, it has, but I'm like, it is what it is, you know? Like, I'm desperate to get to where I want to be, like the generational wealth. Like, I'm hungry. Like, I want to get to it, you know? Maybe I might not use it like proper terms type of
I get what
thing,
you're saying.
but that's like,
You're driven.
Yeah, exactly. It's better synonyms to use for sure.
Yeah. What would you say is your biggest struggle that you've dealt with in regards to like the development of faith? Like, what was one of your biggest like failures, and how'd you learn and overcome? How'd you learn and overcome it?
Well, immediately it's just like the not knowing if you're gonna sell. You know, like that's the biggest failure for anybody starting any kind of like product selling type of thing.
Has that happened to you where like you released like a line and it was like it like flopped?
It just bombed, yeah.
How many times that happened to you?
Probably like a handful of times. Yeah. Like 2, 3.
Okay, that's not.
Well, cause bro, bad. I started Faith like 2017, 2018, but it wasn't really until like 2019 COVID when I really started like pushing it. Mm-hmm. But I haven't really dropped like that many things too, you know? So that's why I'm like, it's only been like a handful of times. And it was really like in the beginning when I was really trying to do it like towards the end of high school. And I just had like a lot of people that just didn't like me or didn't, I don't know, like who I was. I don't know what it was, but people would always just hate on whatever I had to make or do. It was just really weird. So
what was a time where like through the development of faith, what was a time that you can think of top of mind? Like the first thing that comes to mind of a hater, like against faith, and like what did you do when that happened, whatever the situation is?
They literally just this. They're like, you think you could sell that? Like you think somebody's gonna want to buy that? And then that's when I was like, well, I'm wearing it. Like I want to wear it. Like if I want to wear it, I'm pretty sure I could convince or have somebody else wear it too, you know? And I was like, well, apparently you don't have faith whatsoever, like at all. So I'm just like. Well, you know,
you need to wear this.
Yeah, so like it for sure like affected me in a way. Like I was just like, damn, like I guess, but I'm like, bro, look at everybody else. Like every other brand. Like at the end of the day, even like going to like Louis Vuitton, that's just a name. You know, like he ended up putting like the quality behind his work. You know, the history of like what they are, who they are, what they do, the products that they give out, all that stuff. You know, so I'm like, if somebody's able to sell their first and last name, how can I not sell like actual meaning, like something good to pass on to people?
Yeah,
you know?
And not only did the faith doesn't come from you weren't just like taking a crap and you're like, that sounds really good, a good brand. It's with faith.
Yeah,
you know, we're gonna sell that. It's like no, there's a story behind it. You know, and it's almost like if somebody wants to talk shit, I'm like mother, like you know, you want to know what's the backstory of this shit. You know, like
well, for me, like. At this point, like I don't even care to defend it.
Yeah,
you know, I'm just like, like it's just a waste of time. At the end of the day, I'm like, well, I don't need you around me whatsoever. And plus, like I respect everybody's opinion. Like I'm just like, you know, as much as I have my own opinion.
Is right word to use though? Because if somebody talks shit about you, that's like me saying like,
okay, well, I don't respect them.
Bitch or something, and it's like, do you respect that?
No, but at the end of the day, I for sure just have like, there's obviously the invisible wall of like, bro, you could literally tell me whatever you want to say, and I could care less. Like you know, I definitely have grown into that just because I feel like I've gotten a lot of criticism and just random like hate from. You know, people that are still flipping burgers. Not to say, you know, I'm not hating the hustle. It is what it is. You know, you do what you gotta do. But
it goes back to like the idea of people talking shit from the stands. You know, like the people who are watching you just want to talk shit because they haven't done it themselves or are too scared to do it themselves. So they like look at you and they try to pull you down.
That's the biggest thing too. Like, for us, I feel like entrepreneurs, you know, I honestly don't like using like that word.
I would
too
say
much,
you're definitely an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between entrepreneur and businessman.
Yeah.
But I would say between the two, you're for sure an entrepreneur because an entrepreneur is like a creative individual who's like visionary, and their goal is just to be the vision of the company and not necessarily the know-hows of like the nitty gritty.
Yeah, 1,000%.
The like legs and the arms of the business. That's not their job. They kind of outsource it to somebody else. You know, what were you about to say?
I just feel like we gotta be ready for failure. You know, like at any time, and then just learn how to adjust. What do you got to do to get back up? And I feel like that's what brings in like the other side of the businessman. They already technically kind of know exactly what they have to do, but yeah, for sure, failure is not something I'm like scared of or anything like that whatsoever, because at the end of the day, it's the leap of faith that you got to take into doing whatever it is you want to do, you know. And how are you ever gonna find out if you don't try it?
Yeah, definitely. And failure is something that you need to expect at the end of the day, because it's a reframe, because failure is actually just a way of you learning something. Because when you
Yeah.
fail, you learn that something didn't do good. I'll give you an example. Like, for example, I released a couple clips for the Road to Freedom podcast on Instagram, and like 3 of them got like 100K views.
Yeah.
And I was seeing the Dougie, you know,
Yeah.
and then there's like another one that got like 1K view, you know, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever. And those aren't failures, but it makes me think, okay, what about these? Like, let's look at these. Like,
Yeah.
why do they only get 1K views? Is it the length of the video?
Yeah.
Is it the topic? What is it? And what happens is that through those in quotes failure, you learn. So there's
Yeah.
just opportunities to learn. And throughout anybody's phase of like doing anything entrepreneurial, dude, I failed so many times, bro.
Yeah.
I failed so many times.
Yeah.
The one who's gonna win is the one who's relentless at the
Yeah.
end of the day. The one who doesn't fucking give up.
Yeah.
Winners are winners, you know, losers are losers. You only lose when you quit.
Yeah.
That's when you really fail.
Yeah.
You know, that's when you really fail. But other than
100%.
that, everything's a learning lesson. And the thing too to think about is that why would you ever listen to somebody who's just in the stands flipping burgers? You know, because they obviously don't have the right understanding of what failure is.
Yeah.
Because they think if you fuck up or if you don't get your results in 30 days, all of a sudden you're a failure. When that's
Yeah.
not how it is in entrepreneurship. How long has it taken you to build faith where you're at? Years.
Yeah.
Years, you know what I'm saying? So expecting that quick result, what a lot of people do is they expect that quick result, and then when you don't get that quick result, yeah, exactly.
Just quit it.
And that's why, like, with the Road to Freedom Instagram or social media, YouTube, it's going to be for the long run. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not focused on, yes, as a businessman, I'm focused on the views,
Yeah.
but I'm not focused on, like, it necessarily not doing well. And
Regardless,
being
at the
like,
end of the day, like right now, all we're trying to do is provide as much information as we possibly can, you know? So either
Yeah.
way, like, people are going to be able to still, like, once you're at that 1 million subscribers, 10 million, whatever it is, people can still go back to that first video, you know, and see, like, exactly, like, where your thought process, whatever it is you had in mind, like, all the information is still there.
Yeah.
So, like, all that views, all the likes, like, none of that really, like, matters. Obviously, yeah, into, like, business, like, type of thing, you then can use it to your advantage, but, and monetize, you know, all that. But right now, like, at the end of the day, I feel like mainly going back to, like, this whole, the road to freedom is, like, providing as much knowledge and information you can to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, too, that's kind of one of the main reasons why I started the podcast. I actually and I explained this in episode 1 as well, but I used to have the road to, what was it? Road to Millions. I even forgot it already. But a Road to Millions, and it was the same premises too, where it's like, I'm going to show people, I'm going to
Road to billions.
breadcrumbs, Road to Billions, big facts, 2 billion, 5 billion, who
Sure,
knows what the actual end result is. But, yeah, bro, I think it's super important that people see that, because this is going to go very, very far, this podcast, and you're going to go very far with faith. I know that for a fact.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you too, where do you see the brand in like 5 years?
In like 5 years, I definitely see like finally opening up my first shop here in San Diego. Like full, like, you know, you come on in, do your shopping, everything like exactly how I want it, 1,000%.
Dude, that's gonna be sick.
I know everything is just online. You know, check it out, faithbyluis.com.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, within the next 5 years, mainly is just being able to produce everything myself. Right now, I definitely like outsource, but I try to keep it local, like to a lot of like local shops. I want to give back to locals, everybody who's, you know, doing their own entrepreneurship, having their own business, working for themselves. But yeah, later on, I definitely want to be able to start producing myself, buying my own machines within the next 5 years, and just pumping out the best product I possibly can.
Yeah. What's your end result with the company?
Dang, end result. I don't think I have like an end result right now. Like I don't see it ending, you know, like just using that word end. Like I don't know. Like for me, it's just being able to. Yeah, I don't have like a
necessarily
end result. Yeah, because I always see, for me, I'm always on growth and progression, whether if it's just 1% or 100%. Like I'm always, what's the next move to improve? There's always room for improvement. So I don't see no end result. The only end result that I like kind of thought of is like seeing somebody in the street, you know, walking by with the faith hat or faith sweater, and like for me that's like you know, like I did it, you know, but I already did that. So I'm kind of like I was like at Fashion Valley, and literally just within like a 5-10 minute span I saw like 3 people wearing my stuff.
No way.
So I was
For real?
like, whoa, like in my head I was like, oh, damn, like I did it, you know, like this, you know, people are really wearing it here, like people like it, people are wearing it out to go out to eat or to go out to the mall, you know, like people are trying to, you know, look nice. So I was like, that was for me, like I guess like an end result, but I already kind of did that. So that's why I feel like there's way more things that I gotta do and just get done, you know.
Yeah. If you could like go back to the OG you who started Faith and can like see it now, what do you think that version of you would say?
I'm a big crier. I feel like I'd probably just cry. Not gonna lie.
Bro, that's how I am.
I'd be like, damn, like, you know, like I don't know. I'd just hug myself. I don't think I'd honestly just be like speechless type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and just be proud, hug, and just continue. Just tell myself to continue, keep going, and keep growing.
Isn't that interesting? Because think about too, like it's the same thing for 3 to 5 years from now.
Yeah,
You know?
1,000%.
We're gonna be asking that same question. Hey,
Yeah.
look, you know, if we can see, just like we were talking about before the podcast,
Yeah,
is that if we could see us in 5 years in the future, how we're at now, like us on the podcast together, and then we're gonna be like in the high rise that we own, you know, and it's gonna be like, yo, like remember that time that we're in the office paying $850 a month?
that's what I'm saying, bro. Like the future gets me so happy, you know. And for me, I'm forever grateful to live another day, every single day. As soon as I wake up, I'm happy, you know. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy I was able to wake up, see everything. Happy to be able to wake up next to my girlfriend, and you know, all that, bro. Like it's a blessing.
Yeah, dude. The gratitude definitely helps you throughout the day, and like having purpose, like when you wake up, because like when you don't have purpose, you wake up and it's like, whoa, like fuck, another day, you know, like another day to float.
And well, now like too is like I'm excited for what's next, you know. Like going back to the future thing, like I'm excited to go to work, but this isn't work for me no more, you know. I'm doing something that I really love doing, and it's all based on my ethic and what I'm trying to get done, because I could take a day off if I want to take a day off, you know. Like I can go to Disneyland if I want to go to Disneyland, or the next day I could just be grinding out the entire 24 hours and I'm good. Like I could do everything whenever, however I want. And this is definitely like a dream of living, and this is definitely something I want to continue and be able to pass on to everybody else that I can.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Are you gonna end up getting that warehouse, or like not the warehouse, but the
Just another
new spot?
space?
Yeah,
I'm definitely trying to. So I mean, I hit up like some of my people that had like buildings and stuff, so I'm just waiting for them to hit me back up.
What's your ideal situation with that?
Just being able to get a space like probably triple or quadruple this size, and then honestly already starting to be able to get my embroidery machines. I already have my silkscreen machine that's for like shirts and stuff, so just being able to put everything where it needs to be and just having it more of like a full production like warehouse or office space.
What would you say is that what do you need to change in you to fully like take advantage of that situation, if you get what I'm saying?
Like, well, I don't know, because I feel like I have the drive, you know, like I see, because for me too, the biggest thing is like your environment, you know, and I get kind of like, I need a new environment every so often. Like I get kind of tired of being in the same place or in the same situation. So I'm definitely most excited to get into that new space, because as soon as I'm in there, bro, it's like a whole new, put it in, you know, downshift real quick, and then just take off, bro. Like, and it's every single time. So now too, like
going to 2-1.
Yeah,
because I know you had automatic before.
Yeah, I was about to be like, put it, but definitely not. I remember the stick shift days, bro. I miss downshifting. Now this automatic life
automatic, bro.
It ain't fun. It ain't fun.
Wait, your Z after, wasn't it stick?
Yeah, it was stick, bro. Yeah, dude. I miss that thing so much.
Dude, I miss the Z too, my old Z. I do, but I don't, because I knew when I like let it go, I was like, because dude, I got
it's
so
gonna
many
come
tickets.
back. Oh well, not the tickets, but the cars and all that is gonna come back. You know.
Yeah.
But it's
dude,
definitely,
to me the Z is like not even like. What's funny, bro, is that with me, I've always said like I want to get buried in my Z, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
But then I learned like, dude, at the end of the day, because I get really attached to things, like sentimental.
Yeah,
like
it's just
things,
an object.
Things have certain like really value, because I'm very loyal. So like if somebody sticks with me from like the ground up, I'm like, bro, like we're in it to the death. So like when I go through certain things with my cars or whatever, I feel that like I'm like, this guy like was with me like the OG times. But then again, it's just a piece of metal with like you know, somebody just designed it and put it together, a piece of metal, whatever it may be. And I knew it was holding me back. Yeah. And, like, I think that says a lot, too, about what I'm willing to sacrifice, because to me that was a huge deal. Yeah. And what happened was it got impounded. And I was like, well, like, I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, so across the country. And I was like, what should I do? Should I spend $1,500, $2,000 to get it out? And, like, I'm going to cut, like, the expense or the amount of money, my pool of money, in, like, a fourth? You know, does it make sense for me to do that? I can afford it, in quotes. but what makes more sense? Should I use this money to invest into my business and scale and get $100,000, or should I
be able to
spend
get
it?
like 10 Z's?
Yeah, exactly. You
You
know?
know?
So like the Z2 is I realized I was holding myself back. So I was like, bruh, it's a wrap. You know. And once I did that, it was almost like another breakthrough, because it's like a new version of me.
Yeah.
You know, what I was willing to risk and what I was willing to do, and I did it. You know, where I came out on the other side to where I'm at now.
And just looking at the bigger priority, you know, like
Exactly.
just
Does the car really?
prioritizing.
Dude, that car was clapped, bro. Dude, I clapped it out.
Was it a 2005?
No, it was 2003 DE. I used to be
yeah.
HRs, bro. 08s all the
Yeah.
time. Dude, there used to be.
Were you ever in first gear, like in your 40
No.
rolls and stuff?
No, you can't, bro.
I did that.
How? Well, on automatic, right?
No, like
Oh.
when in my, it was a 2005, so it was the
'Cause you
rev
had
up.
to, yeah. So you.
But I was able to get it into
That's why.
first
You
gear
go
in a
like
40 roll. Yeah.
15K RPM, bro.
Oh, that thing would take a dump on these HRs, bro. Like easy. They'd be so confused. But it was a
Yo,
lot
what's
of fun.
up with that, bro? Why does like I remember the first time I like raced somebody on the freeway. It was an automatic. Challenger V6 with exhaust.
Oh.
Yeah, bro. And like we lined it up, 40 roll. I left a dookie on this guy, bro. Dusted this guy, and we pull up to the gas station after. You know, everybody gathers and stuff like that. And he was like, are you stock? No, you're not stock.
Fuck your head, man.
Fuck your head. I was like, look at this stock, bro. I just got an intake. I always used to say that. I used to have like a lightweight flywheel. I had the CD009, which is a newer tranny, like 2008 transmission.
Yeah, I remember
HR.
you changed that thing like 3 or 4 times or something.
Yeah,
I remember you dropped
bro.
your tranny like a couple times.
Dude, high key, the Z that I had isn't the Z that I left it as. Like
Yeah,
the Z that I
no.
bought.
Yeah, not at all,
the same
bro.
car.
I remember we switched out, bro. You switched out the motor like
Yeah.
2 times. I feel like or
think-
something.
Was it twice? I think it may have been twice.
I feel like it
Was
honestly.
it twice? No, it was one time.
Was it?
But it's because I did a bunch of engine transfers after that. Like on
Oh.
a Blue Z, we did bro. There was this
Oh,
one time.
yeah.
Do you know about that one time we got a free engine?
No.
Do you know about that?
No, I just remember picking up an engine when we went up to LA, and
Oh,
we
I don't
were-
even.
yeah, bro, it was when we got in the guy's BMW and he took us in the mountain and stuff.
Oh,
Like
dude,
he had the R8, he
Dude.
had 2 R8s.
dude, we
one track.
manifested that shit, bro.
That thing was insane.
Dude, we manifested that
That
situation.
was so much fun.
Dude, that shit was super sick.
I was all cramped up in the back though. I had like
Was that
my-
sitting in the front?
bro, it was a coupe. It was I think
I don't
yeah.
remember.
Was it just us two? No, it was Juan,
Juan,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, Juan was
All
there.
3 of us were all
So,
manifestors,
yeah,
dude.
but we were just like, well, I was like all cramped up in the back, bro. But that car was
Dude,
like crazy.
I just had an
crazy.
idea,
I think
bro.
it was an M8.
You know what we should do? We should do another episode, and we should bring Juan on. All 3
Yeah,
of us, and we can talk about
1000%.
shit like that too.
Yeah, bro.
'Cause-
Where's he at?
He's
He's still here in
San Diego.
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's flipping a house or a condo right now in San Diego.
nice.
You know about we like wholesaling a house in Knoxville? You know about that?
I think so.
Yeah, I wholesaled him a house in Knoxville. He like went out there with him and his
The one that
friend
you
Oscar.
just did, right?
No, this is completely different. That's where I was living at.
Oh,
and he stayed
with your
me for a
first
bit.
2 checks, where you were showing one was like
No,
10K.
that was a different situation.
okay.
But I wholesaled Juan a house in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Mhm.
I got it for under contract for like $5,000, but it had like 28K in like unpaid taxes and liens and stuff like that,
Mhm.
because it was empty since 2013.
Oh wow.
And what happened was that the mom had passed away, and the kids didn't know, or the kid, it was only one son, didn't know what to do with the house.
Yeah.
So the house, like, he didn't know he could own it, you know? Because what happens is that, what is it called? It's called the affidavit of heirship. So what happens is you have heirs. Heirs are essentially people who are related to you. So, like, if I die, the first heir is my wife. And then if I don't have a wife, then it goes down to my kids. And if I don't have kids, it goes to my brothers and my
Yeah, your brother,
sisters.
yeah.
And then if they're not around, or I don't have any brothers and sisters, it goes to my parents.
Yeah.
And after that, I have no idea. I think that the accounting just takes it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that. So what happens is that these houses will sit vacant, and they'll like turn into crack shacks, and it's just like a random house, like a eyesore in the neighborhood. And then what I would do is that I would go around the neighborhoods. I would actually analyze data, and I would find these houses without even having to go in the neighborhoods, because I would see like it's really cool, bro. You can like gather a bunch of data. You can get like vacant lists. You can get like
Yeah.
tax delinquency list, tax sale list.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a bunch of different lists, code violation lists. And what you do is you stack all these lists together, and you see like this house was on like tax delinquency, tax sale. What else was it on? It was a vacant property as well. Do you know what vacant is?
Like
House is
nobody's in
empty.
it?
Yeah, vacant. So, dude, and like literally when I went there, the grass was like as tall as me,
Yeah.
and it was like everywhere, dude. It was like Jumanji.
Yeah.
Like it looked like literally like Jumanji. And what I did was I went in and I trimmed all the grass and all that stuff, and then I took pictures of it, and then I sold it. But there's a crazy story with that too. They had like, I ended up transferring into my company name, and then like when it transferred to my company name, and I went to resell it for not actually that wouldn't be wholesale, but to wholesale it, technically speaking, close and resell. They found like a judgment on the property, and they're like, well, we already closed on it. It's in your name, but you gotta pay I think it was like $26,000. Yeah, and I was like, bruh, like, it's in my name. And on top of that, actually, what happened was that Juan ended up funding that property. And then a random judgment came up. But it's because the title company didn't do their work right. They like randomly skipped over the judgment, you know? But what ended up happening was that I ended up figuring it out. I like posted on Facebook into the groups like, hey, we're having this issue. And then I had a friend who reached out to the owner of that title company and got it fixed.
Oh, sick.
So like, yeah, I had that guy came in clutch, dude. Yeah, hella clutch. But
shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy. But yeah, anyways, Juan is flipping properties here.
Sick.
And that's what he was saying he was gonna do too.
Can't wait to get into that.
Oh yeah, we gotta show you more about that stuff, bro. Yeah. What were you saying again? What's your like 5-year goal for investing in real estate?
Oh, at least having like 2 properties kind of thing. I definitely wanted to have one here in San Diego, and then where you were going to in Texas. I definitely wanted to get something out there.
Texas. Yeah, so the average home price there, I was talking to an agent today. Dude, it's so funny, bro, because typically how it works is like when there's like agents everywhere. Like everybody has their license. So like when you ask like, hey, do you know an agent? Like everybody hits you up, you know? And today I was like thinking like, all right, you know what I need to do is that, because I was asking myself, what can I do today to progress my business forward? Because you already know I have those 2 different businesses, technically speaking. Well, they're in 2 different LLCs. I have the cable estate. Well, I have that first marketing business, and then I have the other one, which is the acquisitions business. So anyways, I was thinking about the acquisitions business. What can I do today? Because I've been focusing on the front end business, you know? What can I do today to progress my acquisitions business forward? And one of them was, all right, I got to start going to Dallas, Texas and figuring out like where are the good areas. Because I don't know, I've been there and I've been there like twice or 3 times, but I don't know what any of the good spots are like over there. So I was like, all right, what can I do to figure out the landscape and what it's like? And I was like, I got to hit up like 3 to 5 agents. So I started like hitting up a bunch of people like, yo, anybody know anything? But it was like crickets. Like, what's going on? And I had like, I went through like all my contacts and I just started calling people. And I was like, hey, you know any connections in like anybody in Dallas or even Houston? Because if I get somebody a connection in Houston, I can just be like, yo, do you know anybody in Dallas? You know? But it felt good again because I haven't been on the phones, bro, since like March for a while. So like when I was on the phones and I was on that like rhythm, I was like, bro, this shit feels so good. Like it's like the communication, you know? Because when you get good at communication, it's like a whole different story. Because what you tend to find is that when you talk to people, like you have like such like it's like a chess game. Like literally like communication, talking to people is like a chess game. And but the thing is that you play it without people even knowing they're in the game, you know? So it's like you're like a master, you know what I'm saying? Because what happens with the real estate agent space and the business world overall is that you get a lot of people who are like cocky or like they think like, so for example, if your tonality is always really high pitched, like, hey, I was just calling about your like, hey, like, are you an agent in Dallas? You know, like, hey, I just want to see if you had any buyers, you know? Versus like, hey, I was just giving you a quick call. I wanted to see if you have any buyers, if you're connected with any investors, other investors in Dallas, Texas. Like you can see how just the same words, same words, but the tonality is different. The energy behind it is different. So I always like use it as an opportunity to practice that, like, oh, my tonality. So like when I go into my normal life, like everyday life, it's like even more cake. You know what I mean? You know? And I find it interesting too. I was earlier today, so I've been like wearing suits every day, and I went and I bought like 6 ties, or I don't even know how many, 5 ties or something like that. The reason being, and I have a bunch of these shirts now, these button downs, but the reason being is because I'm gonna be wearing this shit all the time, like whenever I can, like at all points, because that's what I've always wanted. But it was funny, earlier today, I'm like walking down the street right here in downtown, and this guy's like, he's like hanging out his door. He's hanging out his door like this, like, and he's like, man, you looking good, bro. Look at him. Man, he got it going on. And I was like, man, am I getting catcalled by a guy right now, bro? I was like, is this how it feels, bro? What's going on? But it's funny, bro, because you have like that power, dude. And like when you communicate well, like think about it. You present yourself well from the very beginning. You're already very intriguing to start. And then you come out and you're a master at communication. You're like a lethal object, you know? So think about it too. Like, for example, let's just say that we're going to go into like some kind of networking event for some kind of like, and I would imagine the fashion industry, it's like even more ego. Bro, there was this fucking book that you have to read called Pitch Anything. There's so many books, bro.
Yeah, just send me the whole list.
I'm about to just buy you a library,
bro. Not gonna lie, shout out Austin for buying me my first first two real good.
You're gonna like those 2 books. Yeah. Meditations, you'll probably get into later.
Yeah.
Meditations, that book is more like you have to like really discipline yourself because some like college guy made it, you know, like because he did translations, so his like intellect or the guy's like vocabulary is like higher. I had to keep like research new words.
Yeah.
I had to keep researching them. You know, and when you do that more and more, it's kind of like it takes more discipline versus like like the font is like 15, you know, size. You know, it's super easy to read. You can get through 10 pages in like 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
But that meditation is a little bit more difficult. But the information you learn in meditations, bro, is like lethal because the philosophy and the mindset you learn from him as an emperor is like golden because you take that same philosophy into your business and it's going to make you a lethal object. I think too, like with me, I'm a mixture of both. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also a businessman. But what I enjoy a lot is the businessman aspect of it because it's more like you're a chess player too.
Yeah.
Because you're continuously like figuring out, resolving issues all the time. Yeah. But I'm also an entrepreneur because I'm a huge visionary. Like we're going to go here and this is what we're going to do. And then the business aspect of me is like, this is how we're going to do it. Yeah. You know?
Finding exactly how.
Yeah. It's like that polarities because like the entrepreneur spirit is a lot more creative. And like the creative is more feminine. Like feminine, masculine is, think about like what masculine is. Masculine is like black and white, you know, like this and that. But feminine is like you're feeling, like I feel like, you know. Yeah. So like to tap into like that creative side of us is that feminine side. Now, what you also learn too is that there's this thing called the law of polarity. The law of polarity is both masculine and feminine energy. So that's why the more that we can be in balance, like the yin yang, like bro, that meaning, that yin yang sign means a lot. Yeah. Like I used to think it was just some bullshit. Everybody gets it tattooed. You know, it just becomes like something that like everybody has. But it actually means like has a lot of meaning. Yeah. Because polarity is super important because think about like if you only had the creative side of it, but you didn't have the masculine action. Yeah. Because action is masculine. Feminine is creative. So if we were only one or the other, you know, if we were only about masculine energy, we would be a 9-to-5er. Yeah. You know, because we're not really creative. We're just trying to make some hard labor. Yeah, exactly. And then the creative is feminine. That's like the, you know, we're going to go here, arts and craft, more artistic, you know. I keep thinking autistic. I don't know. No, but yeah, with the mixture of both of them, both feminine and masculine, you get that end result of what you want. So that's why it's interesting that a lot of people like think that feminine is bad. You know, it is today in today's world, like how they've like super exaggerated because they've polarized it like crazy where it's like everybody's like everywhere. If we were to see like on a line like this, you know, like this is the feminine side, this is the masculine side, people are like way over here, you know, versus there's no masculine aspect. That's why like with what I do is that I'm already a masculine person like naturally. So like I embrace it all the way, you know? So when I like post on my story or whatever I'm just fully me because especially people in our generation need more masculine energy. There needs to be more people to tell people how it is, where it is, you know, like that raw shit where it's like black and white, you know, because fucking people are in fairy tale land right now, bro. Yeah. And I think like the longer that persists and happens, the more and more the future generations are just going to disintegrate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? What's your take? And we'll wrap it up in a few minutes. But what do you think is what's your take on like the current generation?
It's extremely sensitive.
Why is that though? Why do you think?
I feel like it goes back to.
Come on, bro. Give it to us all, bro.
No, I'm
holding
just
back.
More on like, you know, the government type of thing. When we were talking about how they're just trying to instill it in us for us to be just controlled or
why would you
manipulated.
Say that? Why do you think they would do that to us?
So they can run everything else, you know, and keep us where they need us to be, you know, and not have us be able to get to the top or, you know, be in positions of power and stuff like that. You know?
Why would they do that to us, though, if they're supposed to have our best interest at heart?
That's a very good question. I definitely don't know that one because I'm like, that's all we were taught, too, you know, from the very beginning. Like, the America is supposed to be a land. Yeah, but, like, then we started growing up and hearing all kinds of other things, too.
Yeah, no, it's all farce. Like, the idea of freedom, they've sold the idea of freedom for a long time. The Patriot Act, so have you heard of the Patriot Act before? No. So the Patriot Act back in 2001, so what happened was 9/11 happened, right? And, like, there wasn't, like, high security at the airports or anything like that. And they started saying that what ended up happening was that 9/11 happened, and then they started increasing surveillance on people. And the Patriot Act, which is the absolute opposite of patriotism, so that Patriot Act allowed them to like literally survey everybody. I don't know exactly. Yes, like exactly. Where it's like they're full blown like looking over us. And there's a quote that says like, "Never let a tragedy go to waste." And some can argue too. This always doesn't happen in every episode probably, but some can argue too that it's potential that 9/11 was intentional. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. Have you before?
I mean, I've heard of all kinds of theories.
But specifically though, with 9/11, have you heard of like somebody ever say like, "Oh, it was intentional"?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it could be, but at the same time, that's pretty.
You just haven't thought about it?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really like into that kind of like thinking too hard on that stuff. Just because, like, I mean, it happened. It was very unfortunate, you know. But I'm not. You know, I was like 2 years old, 3 years old. I'm not. You know.
We were wee lads, bro. Nah, but it's like looking back at history. That's like saying, "Oh, World War II," like not being interested because it happened before our generation. You know. But yeah, dude, I think that's crazy about the government's not here for us, bro. At the end of the day, and I think like what we do is super important. Like the message you're spreading and what we're doing too. What I'm doing with the podcast is that it's like spreading the message of like good. You know, because right now is that. Intentionally, in my opinion, regardless of intentional or not, there's a high amount of negative like energy, negative vibration, you know. And what I think, and I know this for a fact, it's not even what I think, I know this is really what's going on, is that their goal and their intention is to lower everybody's vibration as much as possible. They want to make everybody docile, they want to make everybody weak as much as possible, because
like
at the end of the day,
definitely did it. Sorry to interrupt, but I feel like that was a very big transition right now through like starting with COVID-19, you know, like ever since then, bro, like I honestly felt like the biggest change happened, and there was a lot more negativity like throughout everything, and just being able to fall into that negativity and letting it literally defeat you, and kind of blaming it on like something else, and just like, you know, letting it literally like eat you alive type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, think about it was not only in our nation, it was global.
Yeah.
So like, think about the overall global vibration around COVID-19. And then at the end of the day, did you know that it was engineered in a lab? The Wuhan lab? Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they started doing gain-of-function research on COVID-19, the virus. And what happened was that, oops, it's leaked out. But what they ended up saying from the beginning, it came from a bat. That was all bullshit.
That's what I heard.
The government, our own government, came out saying that they were the ones, Fauci was part of it too, but came out saying that they funded a gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab of COVID-19, proven fact. Our own government funded that. So our own government in America funded COVID-19
virus,
that was global, that destroyed our economy. What does that say about them? And that's the thing is like, bro, is that people like, and this is what bothers me, bro, is that I feel like it irritates me a lot when like I talk about this stuff and people like don't want to hear it. Because I'm like, dude, do you not realize that not only does this affect us individually, you and I, it affects our family, it affects the people, you walk down the street, it's going to affect that guy. You go down and you go to the gas station clerk, it's going to affect that guy. It affects every single person you know. So how is that not a fucking big deal? You know what I'm saying? It's like not this thing to like, well, it's the government. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not fucking acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why is it that people are accepting of this shit? You know, why is it that they just want to like, well, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just think it's gone to a point where like the whole entire population is so docile and so like apathetic, meaning like low energy. Like apathetic is like when you're lazy, like you have no motivation, you know? And I think they intentionally made us apathetic first off, but the generation in our generation is so apathetic. What we live around, people around us are so apathetic that they don't care and they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's what upsets me, because there's an issue that needs to be resolved. And it's not this thing that like we ignore it and it goes away. We've ignored it for how long, even before our generations, and look where it's at today.
Yeah.
It's gone so out of hand that there's a virus globally that fucking destroyed economies over and over. Now where these governments are starting to take away a bunch of people's rights.
Yeah.
Like horrible shit, dude. Like wicked shit. And that's what I mean about like, if we were to look at an energy scale, like good versus evil, like right now, like this is evil over here. We're like fucking like way on the evil side. And I think just like we were talking about earlier is that we were born for a reason. You know, there's certain things that we go through, there's certain ways that we're raised, family that we're raised into, things that we're born with that cultivate a certain type of character and a certain type of person. And that certain type of character and certain type of person develops into something, you know? And that something is what our reason is. And I think, well, me personally, is that my big reason and my big purpose as well, first off, is my family, but second is fucking fighting corruption. Like, no matter what, dude. And that's why I'm developing my companies, is because my influence and my income isn't going to be based off of my influence, like, you know, my podcast, where it's like all my funding and all my money is for my podcast. So it's like, all right, I got to switch some shit up because, like, you know, I got to start saying that the virus is good, or like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I got to start being like muzzled, you know? That'll never happen. I was thinking earlier, I tried not to think like this. And this is, I'll say two things real quick, is that I was thinking about how, like, I was like, at my content on Instagram, I'm like, am I getting like shadow banned? Like, is this too, like, am I like going out to like gates too quick? You know, like, am I like already spitting like too much like fire? You know, where it's like they suppress it. You know, because that's happened. That's happened to one of my friends, bro. Like, he's had like 40K followers on Instagram, and then he started speaking about COVID-19, and his shit plummeted, like views, like on his story. I think he was saying like it went from thousands of views on the story, from what I understand, to like 100 views. Yeah, like literally, like they shadow banned his account. Like, I'll give you another quick example. What happens is that a lot of people will buy followers, and what the Instagram algorithm knows and performs is that if an account uses any kind of like third-party platform where you sign in and like checks your followers, all that is a red flag to the algorithm. So if you were to buy followers, it doesn't like that because it knows that you're doing some fake shit, you know? So it doesn't want to like prop that up. So what they do is, have you heard of shadow banning before? Yeah. So what they do is they shadow ban. Shadow ban is like when they like destroy all your what is it called? Like engagement on your account. So they don't release it to more people. It's like just your followers, and even at just your followers, you don't show up.
Yeah, not all of them.
You know? So what they do is that if you start talking about against shit that they don't like you talking out against,
they immediately cut you.
They just like tap a little button, and you know, you no longer can like
that's all it is, bro.
For real, which is
I
horrible,
feel like,
dude.
For sure, YouTube, I feel like is one of the better, like, you know, social media platforms where you can really
but that shit's still
free.
Maybe a little bit, tiny bit more,
bro,
but it's
over
still
Instagram, they immediately like you. Like, easy. But like,
dude, let me ask you this: what do you think of the new, like, the fucking goggles shit? The
like
virtual
the VR?
reality? Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just like,
are you a goggler, bro?
Yeah, I'm like, you're just gonna stay at home all day now and just, I don't know. It's a little odd, but I'm not.
Are you vibing with it?
I mean, it takes me back to like the whole Tesla and like manual car type of thing. Like, I feel like that's something that just gets you out of your own control. You know, like, it's just something that's like putting you in a whole other kind of vibe. Yeah. You know, like, it's just not. I don't know. I'm not gonna buy that.
Yeah, you're not gonna be strapped.
Yeah.
I see you next. Like, yo, Louis, walk in the office. You're like, oh, hold on, bro. Like this, the goggles.
I mean, I'd be down for. I saw one actually like at the mall, but it was just like for games, you know, like for gaming type of thing.
I'd be gonna try it.
Like,
just I'm never gonna be an advocate for it though. Where it's like, you know, we should be on the shit 24/7.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie a Player Gamer 1 or some shit?
Yeah,
Gamer
that's
1 player,
bro. Just because people just start falling into like thinking that is their reality or that's what they live for type of thing, and I'm like, how does like there's like, you saw the movie, right?
Yeah, of course.
Where it's just like trailers on trailers and everybody, you know, but they're like, oh, I wish I could just go back to that virtual reality thing, and I'm like, bro, that's nothing. Once those goggles are gone, like, then what, you know? So that's why I'm like, I would never want to put my own mind and everything into something that's just gonna block me from anything else that I want to do.
Would you say that it's a possibility that maybe that's their intention, is to do that to society?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like, it's just another like distraction, I guess. Best way to call it.
Well, think about it. You can like have some. They don't have to go outside anymore. They get to stay inside. Because you know about how automation's coming?
I feel like at the same time, they try to sell it as like a convenience, you know? And people, at the end of the day, that's what people want.
Of course,
like,
bro. It's a consumer shit.
So convenient, you know, even just with like Uber Eats and like all that stuff. Like, not to say I'm not against that.
It's hard to not fall into that. I could understand. Shit's expensive, though. But
yeah, but it's just so weird. Like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's definitely something that I feel like is just kind of surrounding us to put us in this, you know, bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really fuck with that shit. I think it's cool. Like, I've seen the boxing, Like,
yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
why I
that's
was like,
just
I saw
tight,
like
bro.
some
I'm not
video
sure,
game ones or whatever. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
But like, it is in Ready Player One, right? Where you, like they hold your body and you're just kind of like ready.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Like
shit,
I thought I'd do it for a game, but bro, like to actually feel like you're living like a Sims life type of thing in there. I'm like, bro, none of this is gonna come back with you, or you're not really.
Have you seen? There's like a video. This guy's like strapped all day. Like he goes to sleep and he's like in the virtual. Yeah. Guy wakes up, he's strapped already, bro.
You're
in
gonna
the
have to
virtual
send me
reality.
that. I don't know. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
some guy. I don't know why they were trying it out, but I think that's kind of like really what they want. Oh, that's what I was gonna say about the automation, because you know about like they're gonna start automating a lot of like blue collar worker jobs.
Yeah, that's scary.
Blue collar worker is
crazy,
middle
bro.
class.
Yeah,
and
gonna wipe out so many,
middle class is
opportunities
gonna
and
get
stuff.
destroyed, like annihilated. And no exaggeration, like literally just like that, and figurative of speech, like what it really is. And what happens is that a lot of these third world countries, that's how it is. There's like a huge divide between the upper class and lower class. Yeah. Where it's like there's just poverty and there's people who are rich. Like literally, like if you were to like look over like a view, it would be like a bunch of trailer parks, and then like there's a big line, like a fence, and then there's like mansions. Yeah. And that's how it is, And what happens is that with inflation, when inflation happens, it actually separates the classes even further, because what happens is that these people at the top, these elite people, they already own a bunch of assets. Yeah. And what happens is that those assets get inflated once inflation comes around. But everybody in the middle class owns liabilities. And what happens is that when you own a liability with inflation, it doesn't get better, it gets fucking worse. Yeah. So what happens is that they start producing inflation, and the classes start getting separated more and more and more and more and more and more. And recently they just passed some like inflation these fucking guys. They passed some inflation fighting act or some bullshit. Did you hear about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, where it's like they're fighting inflation by printing more money. Yeah, like a lot of it. And that's how inflation it starts. That's how inflation increases. Quantitative easing is what it's called. Quantitative easing is when they print money. Mm-hmm. Print the money machine, and money goes brr, When they do that, that's when inflation happens, and then they call it
the dollar value down and all that.
And then they end up calling it the Inflation Act or some bullshit like that. But yeah, it's like the Inflation Increasing Act.
It took me back when you were saying in one of your other clips about the Federal Reserve thing. Yeah. Like it's just all like a naming.
It's all a name. All they do is they just fucking master communication, and they do it on a, dude, isn't this shit kind of crazy, bro? Like on a massive scale, like 300 million people that like are like affected by the Federal Reserve, but yet it's a corporation. And too, they're called the Federal Reserve, but they don't have any reserves either. But anyways, bro, I don't know if you want to continue. I can talk about, I mean, you got shit to do, right?
No.
We'll go for a little bit longer, and then we'll wrap it up, even maybe before. But what would you say, bro, is like, what would you say if you can talk to somebody who's on the come up right now, like they're just starting their shit off. You can see that they're like a seed. Like they have like a lot of potential as an entrepreneur or business person. What kind of advice would you give them?
Aside from never stop. Go out and find, like what you have said to me as well, go out and find somebody that's in a position where you want to be and where you see yourself being in, and just try to provide as much value as you can to them, but at the same time absorb any kind of knowledge, any kind of information you possibly can, and take advantage of it, use it to your benefit, do everything you possibly can to put it into play and really get things done, because there's too many people out here that just talk, but never put in that action, So with whatever you say, you got to back it up and do it, get it done. Never just like put it on a whiteboard and just leave it there. Like, no, like put it on the whiteboard and you cross it off. You keep going through every single thing that you put down, whatever it is. Other than that, just never stop. There's so many failure that's going to come ahead. Like,
have faith.
Yeah, 1,000% have faith no matter what. For me, it's the leap of faith, into whatever it is, and don't expect to always land, like it really is like that big old gap. And there was this one, it's kind of like a story of where there was a swimmer who was swimming in fog or whatever and didn't see the destination, and they were like only a foot or two away, but they felt they swam so long, so they just stopped and gave up. But then there was that person that just kept going, and it was literally just a foot away. Boom, they're there. They're there where they wanted to be, where they needed to be, and then they continue to keep growing. You know? So that's definitely the only thing I could really like suggest. Really,
I didn't know that's like a rebrand, bro. Like a black label, or what they call it, white label. You know, when they like buy something from China and they like put their own label on it.
Oh yeah.
Because the original story, I believe, is that this guy was like mining for gold.
Yeah.
Was that the right one then?
Yeah. Well, I heard
swimmer?
both. I heard both,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know which one is the first one. But the gold miner one definitely is a better story.
Okay, yeah.
But
I was like, bro, this sounds like
the swimming one
version of the. Bro, wait, real quick. There's this guy named Ryan Pineda, and he has his hair slicked or like to one side.
Yeah.
And the one time I went onto this guy's his YouTube is like Wholesale to Millions.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the people who are known in quotes in the real estate space. He has like a little bit of like some good influence in the space of real estate for wholesaling. And he interviewed me, and what ended up happening was that he like clipped it up on Instagram, and then one of the clips like had like 70K views or something like that. And I was going through the comments because I was curious. Yeah. And this guy said, this is a wish value of Ryan Pineda. And I was like, bro, it's just fucking hilarious, bro.
I feel like I said the swimmer one just because I felt like it stuck in my head more because I could relate to it. Like when I was this was just like a literal thing. Like when I was at La Jolla High, we had a swimming pool and we had a swimming class. Or like in PE, they had us swimming in the morning and it was always foggy, like hella foggy. Like you couldn't even see the other side of the pool.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to swim, but the coach was like, you gotta swim. Like if not, you're not getting any credit for this class. And it was a 15-foot like deep pool. And I was terrified. So for me, I was like, damn, I can't even see the other side. And I'm like, I have to just keep freaking swimming until I get to it, you know? And literally that's what kind of stuck with me on that swimming story. So I never, mined for gold, but if I did, I definitely would have used that story instead.
Yeah, I think too, one thing for me I realized was like there's a lot of times where I do that subconsciously. Like I'll start digging for gold or start mining for gold, and right before I know in my mind I'm about to hit it, I'll stop. But that was before.
That's the other thing I do want to give is follow your intuition.
Yes, for sure.
Any gut feeling, whatever it is, follow it.
Yes,
no matter what, dude. Like I've done, sometimes I definitely did not follow it, and it's putting me in like the worst positions. So I know for a fact now I'll never do that again. And anytime, like, bro, you really do feel like you have that gut feeling, like follow it. Yeah, follow it without a doubt.
Isn't that like where does that come from? Like, why is it that
your subconscious,
your gut, and why is that? Does your subconscious know something you don't?
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Like
that breakthrough.
It has to, bro. Yeah. I know it does, and I'm just kind of like asking constructive questions, but I already know the answer.
Yeah,
this is what I think. I think that the subconscious mind is connected to infinite intelligence. That's why when you have this gut feeling, it is your subconscious telling you something because it's connected to divinity. Yeah. So it's telling your conscious ass, low frequency ass, don't be doing this shit or whatever it is. I mean, technically, we're still at a high vibration individually, you and I, but to compare to like consciousness overall, we're like on the lower rate scale as a human being. But yeah, I believe, and what I know is that there's obviously no proven fact to this, but this is my own knowingness, is that the subconscious mind is connected to the infinite intelligence. And infinite intelligence is like infinity, like all information that you can ever think of. Yeah. All timelines, time doesn't exist in infinite intelligence. So when you have a certain gut feeling, it's like that future connection speaking with you, like this isn't going to work out for you. Yeah. So that's why is it that this is a common thing that a lot of people say, trust your intuition, it's because it's a real thing. Yeah. But let's just say, now let's run with that. Let's say that's the case, wouldn't that make us psychic?
Yeah.
And isn't that like fucking magic?
Bro, that's just like a whole other conversation in itself. Cause like, it goes back to just thinking like when I mentioned with you was what was it Albert Einstein or somebody said about like we only use like 3% of our brain type
power.
Of thing. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm like, oh, how the hell is the other percentage doing? Like, how did
where that?
Yeah, like how did we not be able to just tap into that? Why can't? Well, what's up with that? Like that's what's so crazy to me.
I think we can,
but that's like
we can once it's trained within us.
Yeah,
100%, dude. Like these secret societies, they know all this information, they hide it, and you know why? It's because these secret society guys, they pass on information like from like generation to generation. It's like verbatim, and they think they think that their like bloodline is like extremely royal. Yeah, and that they think there's a difference between the people and their fucking bloodline. Yeah. So they like will shake hands behind doors, and then they go on to like public, and it's like peasants and them is their mindset.
Wow.
And these people all know this stuff. Like they know about high vibration. They know about your vibration. How like, dude, I was thinking about this. Is that I think is really interesting. Did we before we met? Because we met for coffee. How long ago? 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. I feel
Did we ever mention anything prior to that about us doing this shit with the office?
No.
About me coming here, me doing the fucking podcast here? No, right? And just me being here has already developed me into a more better version of who I am.
Yeah.
And I was like,
same goes for me, bro. Honestly, having you here is a blessing.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Honestly,
it's just meant to be, bro. It's the law of reciprocity.
Yes, sir.
But we didn't talk about this before we linked up that day, and even before that, we had like tried to link up multiple times.
Yeah.
And then we didn't, you know. And then like this random time, like our schedules kind of aligned.
Yeah.
And then we hung out, and then we got into conversation, and then you're like, "Yo, pull up to the office."
Yeah.
And then we just started talking, and then I pitched the idea to you, "Hey, you know, what do you think about this?" And then it ended up working out.
And for me too, like it was like I was in the middle of that transition already, so I was like, "Dude, you're more than welcome to do it."
Dude,
like,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it helps me, it helps you.
Dude,
I'm like, by
bro,
all means.
How is that shit like not divine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's
and that's
no
just
such thing as a coincidence.
There's no such thing as a coincidence. And you know why? Is because doing 75 hard, I've noticed that it increases my vibration, if we're going to talk about it that way. And it's the truth. It does increase my vibration.
That's what I was going to say earlier. When I finally get to that, I'm going to start reading the meditations book for sure. Because I feel like using that is like hand in hand, like type of thing. You know, it's only going to put you onto a whole other level.
Wait, are you saying Meditations from Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah.
Or the Meditations Becoming Supernatural, that one? Because that one's like about meditation.
That's another, like, well, I thought that one.
No, Meditation is a philosophy book. Like it was
well, I meant the Marcus Aurelius one. Yeah.
Yeah, because this also goes hand in hand with like meditation. Because what meditation does is that it increases.
Have you meditated?
Of course, bro. Yeah. Yes.
I haven't meditated.
I've had like experiences meditating.
Yeah.
Like mystical shit. That's why I like to keep it to myself though.
Yeah.
I probably would never speak about it on like camera, you know, because to me is like I don't want my ego to like now when I go into future like meditation practices, I don't want my ego to be like, well, what kind of story can I tell people in the future?
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I keep it between me and like God, you know, me and infinite intelligence. But I've spoken about it before, and probably like sometime outside of this recording, I'll end up telling you. But anyways, I guess we'll end it here. So lastly, bro, for the people who are listening, how can they find you? Shout out your brand more. Like, how can I want to buy that hoodie. Where do I go?
faithbyluis.com. We have Instagram, and that's basically it. Yeah, just Instagram right now. I definitely want to hop on other platforms, but for right now it's just Instagram and the website, faithbyluis.com. You can find all this stuff here. Yeah.
When are you dropping your new line?
Next line will probably be spring, summer of 23. So yeah, just next year. Because right now I'm trying my best to just work on that and make sure every product is 1000%. Because I personally, I feel like I've low-key kind of like slacked off a little bit on certain things, but now more than ever I'm trying to become greater than ever.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, well, I'm like, what's next?
I stay quiet on purpose. Stay quiet on purpose. All right, bro. Yeah. So, what was your Instagram you had said? Faith by Luis.
Faith by Luis.
And then what's your That's your personal one, or
I honestly don't
whatever
care about
one you want to shout out.
Yeah, it's literally just my, like, at the end of the day, it's just my brand, and that's all I'm trying to spread the faith, spread the positivity, and just make sure everybody keeps going, keep moving forward, and stay true to yourself.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. So that's a wrap for today's podcast. Always remember to protect freedom and to protect freedom of thinking. Appreciate you guys for listening. If you guys enjoyed this episode and you guys have gone this far, be sure to share it with somebody else who's also enjoyed, or share it with somebody else who will also enjoy the episode. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you have to watch the video version, because that's where like the bread and butter is at, man. It's the bread and butter is always going to be in the future for all the videos. So make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, and share it with somebody who you know would also attain the same amount of value. I'm trying not to sway my chair. But with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to follow my Instagram at Austin Lupercio. But most importantly, follow the Instagram for the Road to Freedom. It's at the Road to #2 Freedom Podcast. You can find it on Twitter. You can find it on Instagram. You can find it on Facebook. And also make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And we'll call it right there. All right, guys. Appreciate you. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah. It's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah. That it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Yeah. Always felt myself, this isn't new. No. Always felt I had some shit to
J. Austin.